listening to Downworlder Dish, a Shadowhunter Chronicles podcast. I'm Kristen.
I'm Robin.
And I'm Amanda.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 1, where we are discussing chapter 1, Pandemonium, and chapter 2, Secrets and Lies. Okay, we open with our protagonist, 15-year-old Clary, and her best friend Simon waiting outside an all-ages club called Pandemonium in New York. Now, I just wrote in my notes here, are underage clubs still a thing? Because, I remember in the mid-2000s when we were in high school going to underage clubs, but, I don't... Kids nowadays just, hang out on the internet, right?
Exactly, yeah. I have teenagers. They don't go to clubs, but I definitely did when I was 18-ish.
Yeah. Did not.
You did not.
No, did not.
You did not. You were too busy founding the Harry Potter Club.
Yes.
Okay, so they're outside waiting to get into this club, and Clary notices a cute blue-haired boy, which, I get that. When I was in high school, if a guy had blue hair, I'd be all over him.
How you doing?
Right?
Not my jam. I was more for the puka shells.
Ew.
Because it was the early 2000s.
Ew.
Anyway.
Gross. So the blue-haired boy is being held up at the front of the line by the bouncer because he thinks he's trying to bring in a weapon. He has what looks like a wooden stake, but he convinces the bouncer that it's just foam rubber. It's part of his costume as a vampire hunter.
He's cosplaying as a vampire hunter. He needs it.
Yeah.
So is
you
that
can't
the kind of
dance
club
without...
this is? People go in costume.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the scene. It's
Okay.
weird to try to convince somebody that you can't dance without a prop.
Sure.
Right.
But somehow he's got the charm.
Right.
Yes. Thanks to the wonders of the third-person narrative, we get to follow the blue-haired boy into the club and get a peek inside his head, where not everything is as it seems. We found out that he used a glamour to conceal what was actually a knife, so he's up to no good. We can. What?
No, that was good.
It was good.
It was good.
It was.
I got a sinking suspicion. You're up to no good.
Shit.
I mean, him talking about wanting to eat people was
Right.
not a clue. It's that we know this stick is not a stick. I said node.
Secrets out.
We knowed. He sees a girl in an old-fashioned white dress, and she's gorgeous. She's got this dark red pendant hanging around her neck that has his mouth watering for some reason. We're not sure yet.
Right.
So she gives him a saucy look, flashes a little leg, and he chases after her like a dog in heat. The girl in the white dress makes sure that he's following and slips into a storage room. So that's all we get inside this blue-haired stranger's head. And then we skip back to Clary and Simon, who have made their way into the club, and they're bopping along to the music among the sea of scantily clad adolescents, as you do.
Right.
And I wanted to read this little description of the way they dance because it made me laugh so freaking hard. It says, they were dancing, or what passed for it. A lot of swaying back and forth with occasional lunges towards the floor as if one of them had dropped a contact lens.
Can you imagine what that looks like? Right. It's 7th grade winter formal all over again. Or we're just hanging out with the wrong kids who are somehow trying to dance to techno to Kiss by a Rose.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yes.
Definitely not. I remember high school dances, and it was a lot of bumping and grinding.
Oh, not for us. My first dance, in fact, I have a picture of it somewhere in my garage. My hands are on my later high school boyfriend's shoulders, and we are legit arms
Beach
straight across. Yes, beach
Leave
ball
room for
between
Jesus.
us. Absolutely.
Leave
So
room for
nervous. Yep. Absolutely. And it may have been 8th grade, although I believe it was 7th grade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, our chaperones sucked. They did
Amazing.
not tell us not to do things.
Kristen was just a bad kid, okay? She's a bad egg.
Bad egg.
I mean, we did hide behind the soda machines while we danced.
Wow.
It was bad. Okay, so moving on. Simon tries to act like he's having a good time, but it's painfully obvious that he does not fit in at all, and he's only tolerating the experience for his best friend. But Clary feels drawn to this place. We get a peek inside her head a little bit, and she is kind of noticing the different people around and how they are nothing like her at all. She doesn't dress like a scene kid. That's exactly how I kind of pictured it. Like a MySpace scene kid.
Yes.
And, but for some reason, she just really wants to be there around these people, even though she doesn't quite fit in. But she's distracted and not listening to Simon, you know.
Right. She's too busy, like,
She's
people
scoping.
watching. Yeah.
And she sees the blue-haired boy from earlier that she thought was cute.
Of course.
Duh.
Keeping your eye out for him.
Right. And then
Well, doesn't she think that she could have a chance to, like, dance with him?
Yeah. So she's contemplating going up to him, even though that's totally not her status
It's
quo.
not a character.
It's not her MO. But she's thinking about, like, okay, if I go and talk to him, maybe he'll be happy that someone talked to him because he's alone and, you know, doing the typical
And what is she going to do
girl
with
thing.
Simon? I mean, he's there with her, right? He's just going to watch?
Well, I don't think she's thinking about Simon at all.
Sure. Okay,
Right.
good point.
To be fair, like, if I saw a hot guy and me and Robin were out at the club, I probably wouldn't really be thinking about her either.
I'd be like, come with me. Let's do this together.
Right. Yeah, we have to go
Yeah.
to the bathroom together.
Yeah,
We got to
exactly.
talk to this person together.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm a different breed.
I'm a little scared.
We don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
It was only one time that we tried to go home with some dude at the bar, right? Or no, he tried to go home with us. That's right.
Go away.
I'll cut that out. So Clary's contemplating. She's overanalyzing things, obviously. And
She's pulling a Robin.
she's pulling a Robin. She's just overthinking it. And before she gets a chance to work up the nerve to go up to him, something else catches his attention. So she follows his gaze and sees this gorgeous dark-haired girl in white and instantly deflates. Like, just all the air let out of the balloon. And because this girl is everything Clary isn't. She's tall, elegant, gorgeous, just not how Clary sees herself at all. And I've got to say hats off to Cassie for nailing the teen voice here, because she really did she just kind of got to the nut of it, you know, where
Oh, we've all felt that way.
yeah, you're so insecure, your body's changing, for lack of a better term.
Right.
That's such a mom term, but it's true. You know, you're just kind of a mess, and so, like, you don't feel like you fit in anywhere. And so she did a really good job. Clary watches this blue-haired boy. She's all dejected now, which, I mean, how many of us have seen some hot guy and, like, saw his hot girlfriend, and you just, like, stare at them the rest of the night because you're like, fuck, I wish that could be me. I'll edit. I'll beep.
Darn.
Yeah. Darn it.
Shuckaroony.
So she watches him weave through the crowd, completely transfixed by this girl that he's following. And Simon tries to get her attention, but she's still not paying attention to her best friend who's right in front of her face. She's too busy, like, stalking this guy with her eyes, and she sees these two dark figures tracking the blue-haired boy, and he doesn't notice. The girl in white slips into the storage room, and the blue-haired boy follows her. The two guys that were following them stopped outside the door, and she's watching them, wondering what the heck they're doing. Like, why are you following this couple that's clearly gone to get a little
Right. Private time. They
private
don't need
time?
an audience.
We're going to call it private time.
Yes.
I like that.
They're going to go snog.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Hermione. And so she's watching them completely confused until she sees one of the guys pull out a knife from underneath his jacket. And, of course, she screams. And Simon, who's adorably oblivious, he has no idea what's happening. He thinks that Clary is reacting to this comment he made about banging her mom. Which, it's just, I mean, it's kind of great, right? Perfect timing.
Right.
So she tries to explain what she saw and point out the guys who are still standing outside the storage room, but Simon can't see them. So that's kind of weird.
Right.
But he trusts her,
Right.
And so he goes to get a bouncer, but he's taking too long. There's too many people on the dance floor. He can't push through. So Clary makes a split decision, and she sees the two guys slip into the storage room, and she decides to go after them herself.
Which is crazy, right? I mean, who's going to do that? Are you going to do it?
I would do it, but yes, it's very crazy.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Exactly.
I'm going to call my dad because I am 15.
Right.
And that is just my go-to.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to do to help. But
I think Simon had the right idea. Go get the bouncer. He's kind of the adult in charge there, you know.
The bouncer's the idiot that, like, let the kid... I guess she doesn't know that at this point. Right?
No,
right.
She doesn't get third-person narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But she's dumb.
Yes.
Well, but yeah, but that doesn't mean that, like, I mean, I would still go. Well, I think...
What are you going to do?
I think that I'm way more capable than I actually am. I would definitely die.
Absolutely.
But...
So, okay, what's your plan when you walk in?
Well, because especially because you're alone. Like,
right.
No backup.
And you think that these two guys are going to, like, they're going to surprise the two, because she's in her head. These two people are going to go make out 7 minutes in heaven.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, first of all, she's going to have
a YA book, I suppose.
She's going to have to admit she was watching them go in to begin with.
Of course you're thinking of that, like anxiety. What are they going to think about me?
See, and I'm just thinking, like, if you go in and make enough noise, you'll scare them off.
Maybe you'll scare them off.
Okay.
Right? Like, because that's what Keith
Are they
always
mice?
taught me when I was younger, is if you get loud enough with someone, generally they'll back down.
Okay.
Fire! If people think you're crazy, then they're like, okay, yeah, I don't want to mess with you.
Okay.
Right, not this brand of crazy.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so Kristen is charging in like a bull.
Right.
I'm going to call my dad and quiver.
Right.
And Amanda is going to go get the bouncer with Simon.
Yes, Simon and I are two peas in a pod so far. Absolutely. And this is also not my scene, so
right.
I'm
you
with
would
him.
Be probably uncomfortable being there anyway.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Which this is completely Kristen's scene.
It seems that way.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Complete with the herbal ecstasy.
Right.
Being passed around by the guy in parachute pants or whatever. All right. So again, thanks to third-person narrative, we go inside the storage room with the girl in the white dress who introduces herself as Isabel, and the blue-haired boy. A bit of flirty banter and some creepy internal exposition later, the boy realizes that he's made a serious error in judgment. The sleeve of Isabel's dress inched up, revealing inked skin. Before he can even react, Isabel strikes out, quickly subduing him. She calls out, and the two boys dressed in black emerge from the shadows.
So they're her posse.
Right, yes.
Podna.
She's the siren.
She's what do they call that? A honey trap.
Yes.
Yeah. It's typical, film noir stuff, right? All right, so I wanted to read this exchange from the book because I just could not summarize it better than the way she explains it.
Cassie is queen.
She is. So, the boy said, "Are there any more with you?" The blue-haired boy could feel blood welling up under the too tight metal, making his wrists slippery. Any other what? Come on now, the tawny-eyed boy held up his hands, and his dark sleeves slipped down, showing the runes inked all over his wrists, the back of his hands, and his palms. You know what I am. Far back inside his skull, the shackled boy's second set of teeth began to grind. Shadowhunter, he hissed. The other boy grinned all over his face. Got you, he said.
Okay, just two things. You wrote back of his balms.
Yes.
I know. Which I can't contain myself on the document. But number 2, seriously grinned all over his face. Like,
it's in the book verbatim. I swear to God.
Yes.
Was not a typo.
a grin spreads all over his face.
But you can grin with your whole face.
I think I would say grinned
not
with his whole
all
face.
over
All
it.
over your face.
All over your face.
in and around his face.
Yes. And around his face. Oh my
that's
gosh.
great.
I guess you get to judge people on writing, but we don't.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a weird turn of phrase, but it makes sense.
Right.
Like I get it. I can get over
you
it.
grin with your eyes. I get it. It's just, it is a weird way to say it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't ever remember it being funny when I read it originally. Now I'm just
Just hearing Kristen
older.
say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Clary's point of view. She goes into this messy storage room and doesn't see anyone. She reaches down to untangle herself from cords, and she hears voices. She sees people appear out of nowhere, and it's the girl in the white dress, Isabel, and she's with two boys whose names are later revealed as Jace and Alec. So while behind a pillar, as she should be, hiding from these psychos so far, Clary sees these three interrogating the boy with blue hair. They are asking him about demons, and Clary thinks they are completely crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And isn't he tied up?
yes.
Like they've tied him up to a pillar and they're like straight up,
Right.
like
legit interrogations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Reservoir Dogsing this guy.
See, this is where I split off from Clary because I don't know what the hell she's doing hiding behind a pillar. Like, why'd you even go in there if you're just going to spy on them?
Well, she's tangled in a cord. She can't get out. Her foot's stuck.
Oh, yeah.
So then she's like, okay, stand here and fumble awkwardly or hide.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
See, hiding behind a pillar is exactly what I would do.
Right. Because she's
Getting my foot stuck in cords is exactly what I would do.
Exactly.
Right.
So she doesn't have anywhere to go.
Right.
Her fight or flight is taken over.
Yes.
And she can't do either.
She's frozen.
She's frozen.
Yes.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So Jace continues to threaten the blue-haired boy. The boy offers up information on someone named Valentine's whereabouts. Apparently, this dude is back. This pisses off Jace, and he moves to stab the blue-haired boy. Clary can't just stand there and watch them kill this person. So she jumps out and yells, "Stop."
In the name of
Right, stop.
Or is it hammer time?
Right.
Or is it collaborate and listen?
Right. How are we stopping?
Yes, we are stopping. So would you have jumped out from behind the pillar to try to stop a murder?
Yes.
No.
No, I wouldn't have either.
I like to feel like when I think about myself, I'm like, okay, I'm a good person.
Sure.
I hold the door open for people.
I put my cart back.
I volunteer my
Right?
husband
You're not a
to help.
monster.
Yes, yes.
I volunteer my husband to help old ladies like load their groceries into the car
Sure.
when it's raining. And, I like to think that I'm a good person. But then I get into something like this.
I would just be afraid they would turn on me. I mean, who's to say they're not going to murder me? I'm not going to.
Yeah.
This boy clearly got into something he can't handle.
These
I'm
are
not
all
getting into
very
that too.
valid reasonings.
Right.
Again, do not align with anything that I would actually do.
Right.
But it's not because I'm a good person. It's because I'm an idiot.
Right.
And I think I'm a lot tougher than I really am.
sounds
Like
like
I have
you
this
do.
overinflated sense of self where I just think I could take anybody.
Okay, so real quick sidebar before just some insight. My husband and I used to play this game where we tried to hide and scare each other all the time.
Terrible.
So it's fun. So fun. So I came home from work early and he was in the shower. So he didn't hear me pull up, didn't hit the door, go open, anything. So I decided that it would be a good idea to hide behind the banister on the stairs. And I think I got the one up on him.
Sounds that way.
But somehow he heard me, saw me, something. So as I'm hiding, he jumps out and scares me.
Oh boy.
And I pushed my 3-year-old daughter at him and ran down the stairs out the door. Like
Legit out the door.
Yeah, like legit. And I was like, don't take me, take the child.
Oh, you just got the bad mom of the decade award.
Well,
Right.
My flight or fight kicked in and
Yes.
I ran like a chicken. So if I can't even protect my offspring, I am not going
Absolutely.
to
She
help
is staying
some
behind
random
that
guy.
pillar.
Yep, I'm staying behind the pillar.
Yeah. No. I'm definitely dying. I'm just not going to let them die alone.
Okay.
Like I'm just
That's
going to
nice
die
of
with
you.
them.
That's
I'm not going to
nice.
stop anything. I know
Right.
that. I'm not capable of that.
Yeah.
But I think I am.
I'm far too into murder shows. I'm watching this on Dateline someday. I'm going to get the hell out of here.
See, and in my head, I'm like, They'll do a podcast about me.
Right. I'll be famous one day.
Yeah. This is how it's done.
Yes. So while Jace explains about the boy.
By the way, my favorite thing out of all this is Clary comes in and yells, "Stop." Then Alec's like, "What's this nonsense?"
Right.
He is such a grumpy old man.
I know.
Yes. So far it seems that way.
How dare you
absolutely.
interrupt me from my murder?
Yes. Exactly. So Jace just kind of tries to explain that it's not a boy because that's what she assumes, that they're killing a human. And so he explains to her that the blue-haired boy is actually a demon. So while he's sort of explaining himself and why murder is appropriate, this blue
In this situation.
Exactly, sure. The boy breaks free and attacks Jace, and his hands turn to claws. They wrestle around on the ground, and eventually Jace stabs a knife into his back. Instead of bleeding, regular, blood, black liquid is coming from the boy, and he starts convulsing and slowly vanishes into thin air. So I think, as any of us would do, Clary starts to back away and get the hell out of there, and she's caught by Isabel's whip. And the three argue amongst themselves on whether or not to bring her back to the Institute, since she can see them, and they say that she knows too much.
Okay, now it sounds like they're actually plotting murder.
Right.
Like they're
She
planning.
knows too
They're plotting
much.
her murder.
Exactly. They're turning on her.
Well, and it's really funny that first part of the book, and you can already see so much personality from these people.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Because Jace doesn't owe this person an explanation.
Right.
No.
At all. But
No.
he's still going to explain to her how he's really a good guy.
But you know he
Why it's
also enjoys,
appropriate.
like, he's totally getting his rocks off, like, watching her.
He wants to hear
Try to-
himself talk.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh. Very good point.
And,
yeah.
and be impressive. He wants to be, noticed for being awesome. So
Right.
he's
Right.
trying to
He
be
doesn't
The
want-
very best murderer.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to think I'm bad. I am so amazing.
It's
Yes.
a moral gray area,
Right.
but it's fine.
Right.
It's not against the law, technically.
Technically.
So all of a sudden, Simon calls out for Clary. He's in the storage room and has very bravely, I believe, brought the bouncer with him. He's confused as to why she's alone in the storage room and asks what happened to the guys with knives. So I imagine Clary's looking around the room like, dude, they're right here. Hello. And so she realizes that Simon can't see them, and Jace just grins at her, basically
Because, yeah.
sort of like,
His smart ass.
Uh-huh.
yeah, exactly. Haha.
Like, I was telling the truth
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
time.
She already says, I'm going to call the cops on you.
Right.
Get off my property.
Yes.
And he's like, on what?
What are they going to do? There's
What are
no
they gonna
body.
do? There's
Yeah.
no body. There's no blood. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. Which I think she realizes is true because
Yeah.
the boy completely vanished. I mean, come on. So she apologizes to Simon and I'm assuming the bouncer. I would be more apologetic, I think, to the bouncer than to Simon.
Right.
And because, of course, I can't handle a stranger thinking that I made a mistake.
right.
Yes.
And,
or like inconvenienced him in some way.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, it's like my worst
Yeah.
nightmare.
Mhm. So she says that she thought that they went into the storage room, but she must have made a mistake. So then Clary and Simon leave the club and hail a cab. While they're doing that, Simon urges Clary to tell him the truth. I'm sure doubting herself and what she just witnessed, Clary explains that it must have been a mistake, and she reassures Simon that she knows she can tell him anything.
Okay, just sidebar before we get any further. How weird would it be to like just back out of the storage room? They're all right there.
Yeah, standing right in front of you.
And you're just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to pretend this didn't
Yes.
happen. Like, how
and
weird.
what, leave them behind?
Right.
To murder again.
And you're like,
Right.
I have more questions. Like,
Yes.
I'm not ready.
I agree.
I think it's weird that I feel like I could literally tell you guys anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And just be judgment free, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I wonder if that wisdom of knowing true friendship is something that's come with age. Like, I'm not 15.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 30. I know now
Right,
what true
right.
friendship is, if you will, or I'm just weird. Because I think I would say something.
I think I would try. Like, I would probably,
Yeah.
throw my hands, throw my hands up. Can you not see these people?
Right. But then, like, how soon do you realize that they're going to think you're fucking nuts?
Absolutely.
And like how, like obviously you wouldn't want to do it in front of the bouncer.
Right. And he's, of course, there.
Well, but they're outside alone hailing a cab. And he's basically
true.
he's urging her. He's saying, I know there's something wrong. I know you.
You look like you saw a ghost.
There's something wrong. Tell me what's wrong.
And I would have said something. But like I can understand the hesitation of like, if he can't see it, maybe I really am crazy. Maybe it really is in my head.
Absolutely.
Like I was talking to them, but if no one else can see it, maybe it is, you know. But again, to your point, as we're older now, like, yeah, I would say something, but as a teenager,
15,
I might not.
Insecure, I don't know if I would.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So next, we move on to chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
And that opens in Clary's apartment, and we see her trying to sketch in her pad, her artist drawing pad. And she has crumpled papers littering her floor, and we really get the sense here that she is a perfectionist. She keeps trying to draw the same thing over and over again, and she wants things to be perfect in her place. And she's comparing herself to her mother, Jocelyn, who we get introduced to as a new character. And in between her thoughts, her phone rings, and on the other end is her best friend from the night before, Simon. And he pretends to be one of the knife-wielding hooligans from last night at the Pandemonium Club who's calling to ask Clary for a second chance at a date.
I love Simon.
I love Simon. Like, he's made a joke about banging her mom. Yeah, he's talking about knife-wielding. I feel like
Which is something I think I would say to either one of you.
Absolutely.
Like, I would definitely call you and make fun of you about something like that.
I would totally make fun of either of you hardcore.
I mean, that's the foundation of true friendship is torture.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
And belittlement.
Yes.
So Clary tells Simon that her mother is TO'd at her because she got in late last night. And Simon just instantly best friend mode. It's not our fault. There was traffic. All this other stuff is going on.
Yeah, because it mentions in the book that he's the youngest. But what I found was really interesting is the original first edition City of Bones that I have, the paperback that I have, it says that Simon is one of 3 and he has 2 older sisters. But in all the rest of the editions, all the newer stuff, it's only 1. So I think it was one of those things that got changed between book 1 and book 2 or something like that.
Just an inconsistency.
Yeah, so they went back and changed it because in the audiobook it says he's got an older sister. He only has 1. So I think it was one of those things that didn't kind of end up panning out later on down the series, and so they went back and changed it.
Right.
But because
I couldn't imagine, obviously knowing what we know.
To me it means nothing.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 1. He has a sister. That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
And I mean, I get it in terms of like, as an author, like if you're starting a series, you don't really know completely where everything goes and like how everything, like you have a general idea usually of like how the story's going to arc, but there are certain details that don't get hashed out until later. So like I can understand being like, okay, will we never bring this up again? So I might as well go back and change it. And it's a really small detail, but
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's something I would have never noticed.
It's something I never thought happened. I didn't even think about stuff like that happening in books.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's why you have like first edition, second edition.
Right.
Because those are like edits that happen. You know, sometimes it's just a comma or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, things do get changed between editions. And it's really fun because when I went back and read this like physically, because I hadn't read the actual paperback in a really long time, there's a ton of things that I made notes on that like harken back like later in the series. So like I can't wait to go back and be like, oh, you remember in chapter 1 where it said this?
Yeah.
Like this connects to that. And there was things that I never noticed because I just hadn't read the first book in so long and like physically like looked at it and looked at the words.
I agree. You know, the first, Robin and I actually were in the car together and she had me listen to the first chapter to try to, you know, reel me in.
Right.
And so I didn't actually read the first chapter. So I'm kind of catching more even as we're talking here, just learning a little bit more because I just listened to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely recommend read.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. You absorb more, I think.
I agree with you. I concur.
Concur.
Yes. So, back to the story. Simon invites Clary to this poetry slam at Java Jones, which is a coffee shop down the street from her house. And we learn that Simon's part of a band with his longtime friend and neighbor, Eric. And Clary's hesitant to go because she doesn't want to poke the bear and anger her mom more by asking her for permission after she just got in trouble for staying out late. But Simon convinces her. Exactly.
I'm more on the mom side now. I'm, teenagers. I'm like, heck no. Would my kid even ask me?
How dare you?
Exactly. Yep.
But it's one of those things where, he convinces her to do it. And I think it's like, if you ask my mom, she might say yes.
Okay,
yes.
So I relate to this so hardcore because I was Clary in this situation where my mom didn't want me to do anything. But if Robin asked my mom if I could do something, then my mom would say yes because she thought Robin was an angel and
she is correct.
Okay. To be fair, you totally were. But she loved you more than she loved me. I mean, she still does. She still talks about you more than she talks about me.
Love you. Love you, Mom.
It's true.
So, the phone call ends and Clary looks around the apartment and we get in that third person narrative again. We're noticing all of Jocelyn's artwork and it's displayed all around their living space. We find out that Clary's father, Jonathan Clark, who was a decorated war hero, died in a car accident before she was born. And her mother went back to her maiden name and never mentions Clary's father, but she keeps a few keepsakes. A medal, 1 or 2 photos, a wedding ring, and a single lock of blonde hair in a box on her nightstand that has the initials JC carved into it.
Okay, hold on just a second. One thing that I always found very weird is that Clary's last name isn't Clark. Like, that's such a weird thing for me.
Okay.
Like, she took her maiden name back and legally changed Clary's name, or Clary never had.
Right. Well, because he died before she was born. So I would assume that she just gave her
maiden name.
Her maiden name.
Right.
Well, if she took her maiden name back, of course she'd want him to match.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing. But it always struck me as
interesting.
Weird.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me when we were first reading this, like, that you think it's weird that, like, she's keeping a lock of hair.
Yes, absolutely. I understand the medals and the wedding ring, but the lock of hair is odd.
You just want to know if it's dead hair or alive hair.
I would like to know. Yes, absolutely. But I think it's a little bit of insight into the future because, well, although this is 2006 and nowadays we have like 23andMe, but
right.
Yeah. Well, like yours, either way, it's creepy because like you said, you've collected a lock of hair. Mm-hmm. Was it off of a dead body?
Yes.
Right.
Or was it like while you were sleeping?
Like, this isn't 1942.
Maybe
like this isn't the war where you're
right.
sending a lock of hair to a loved one or something like that. Like,
which is still weird.
Yeah, I guess. It's weird. It is weird.
It could be.
But, like, they did
Maybe
that shit
I understand,
back then.
like, a scarf or something that would have your scent on it.
The
but
medal.
hair is, yeah, exactly.
Like,
a wedding ring, but...
Because you're a bloodhound.
Yeah.
I need a scent.
Well, and I want to know
That's
how
what
much...
Andy does when he goes out of town. He leaves me his pillow.
How much is a lock, by the way?
Exactly. I imagine, like, 1 inch by, like, 4 inches.
Yeah, I imagine, like, a complete curl. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Okay.
Like, and then tied with, like, a ribbon.
A ribbon, yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It sounds beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, that is...
But it reminds me of a little baby, like a blonde baby, like their first haircut.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why normal people
Right.
do that.
I have
like,
my daughter's
I don't know
first
what the hell
haircut.
she's doing.
Yes,
but
exactly.
normal people, like, I think that's more of a normal thing.
Uh-huh.
I said normal 47 times. I'm sorry.
It's normal.
Insane. So the door to the apartment opens and we meet Luke, a longtime friend of Jocelyn who's carrying empty boxes. And Clary asks Luke, who she trusts, what would you do if you saw something nobody else could see?
I absolutely have to interject here. I love his answer. I've talked about this several times now.
Yes.
So paraphrasing just can't just do this justice. I have to read this directly. So his answer is, Clary, you're an artist like your mother. That means you see the world in ways that other people don't. It's your gift to see the beauty and honor and horror in ordinary things. It doesn't make you crazy, just different. There's nothing wrong with being different. And I just think that's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's like what you wish as a parent you would be fast enough on your feet to think to say to your kid.
Right.
You know what
exactly. I would never have come up with anything so
No,
clever.
I would totally. I'd be like,
Okay.
do you need pills?
Exactly. Yes. What is going on with you? Tell me the truth. Absolutely.
Are you on drugs?
Right.
Yeah.
Are you doing those Xanax bars? Is that what they call them?
I've never heard of such a thing.
I don't know. I think it's like a rapper thing.
Okay.
They like rap
Yeah.
about it or something.
Flash forward to 2019. Are you eating Tide Pods?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Oh gosh. Anyway, I think that was just absolutely beautiful. And he's not even her parent, but he still somehow comes up with something just so meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think kind of eases her mind a little bit.
And I think, not to get too far off topic, but I think that sometimes the adult that isn't the parent has a better like viewpoint and can kind of come at a situation better than the actual parent can.
Of course.
And as someone who grew up with, I don't want to say a lot of uncles because that's creepy. But like my mom had a few like long-term relationships, and those men who eventually became my stepfathers. God, I make my mom sound really bad.
We love you.
But those men usually had the best advice and the best like perspective.
Okay.
So like when I had a problem, they were the ones that would like really be able to kind of see it from my side. So I really appreciate her relationship with Luke, and especially in this moment, like I totally get it and like really.
It's one thing to love something that can't, like I tell my kid all the time, I made you.
Right.
You know, like you have to love me.
That eyeball I made.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And then another thing to really truly love a child who's, you've chosen, like, all about it.
Absolutely. Two of my two oldest are bonus children, and they are mine. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a special kind of love I have for them. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you can put yourself in a different perspective and be there differently for them.
I think it's just a little bit easier to see things from their point of view.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, and I think sometimes they feel more comfortable going to someone that's not directly a parent as well.
You're like, cool mom.
Yeah.
Cool bonus mom.
Not me.
Amanda's neurotic. Let's not forget that.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
So Clary's mother follows behind and makes her way into the apartment, and Luke's and her acting weird. They're just kind of off.
Right.
And he's urging her basically to talk to Clary. So her mother comes clean and tells her that the three of them are going to be going to vacation at Luke's farmhouse for the rest of the summer, which is what all the empty boxes are for. Like, pack his stuff up, we're leaving. And Clary is
Which is
devastated.
super weird. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because she explains that it's 2 weeks.
Right.
Why are we packing boxes?
Boxes. Just pack a suitcase real quick.
Right.
Right.
That's
Duffel
so
bag.
weird.
It's
Yes.
just the rest of summer vacation. But she is just devastated because she paid for these art classes out of her own money.
Pissed.
Absolutely.
And obviously art's very important to her. And it's
yes.
important to Jocelyn. So she'd think that she would understand,
Absolutely.
about it. So she's just obviously understandably upset. And she is trying to think of anything that she can think of to make it so she doesn't have to go. So she says, I'll get a job. I'll stay behind. I don't know why she didn't volunteer to stay at Simon's house.
Right.
Right.
Or maybe she did, and I just missed it reading. And
I don't think it was in the convo, but I feel like that would be implied. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's every
Options.
angle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jocelyn is just adamant. She said, no, you're not. You have to come with me. Something could happen to you. Which is weird.
that's a weird thing
That's
to
a weird
say.
thing to say.
Right. Well, I mean, they're in New York, and I am super overprotective mom.
Right.
Yeah,
So
from our
I get
perspective. But like, they were just downtown
at a
by
club.
themselves.
That's a good point. Just
at
the
a
two of them.
club,
Yeah, absolutely.
hailing cabs. Like, they're New York kids, so
Right.
they've got to be used to that like sense of freedom and like kind of they're a little more worldly than maybe
Sure.
Midwestern
Yes.
Cornhuskers.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. But you can. So Luke accidentally, and I'm just like air quotes,
Right.
accidentally knocks over a picture. And he's like, I gotta leave. And he starts to head towards the door. So I think it's, he's frustrated.
He's clearly
this is just a
yeah.
weird tasting scene. It leaves a weird
Yeah.
taste in your mouth. So
It's like when mom and dad are fighting and you're like, I don't know what to do.
I don't-
Like, something
Uh-huh.
weird is happening
Yes.
right now.
But at the same point, I don't know if she's really picking up on it because she's so mad.
Right.
Absolutely.
We get to pick up on that
yeah.
as a reader, but for her, she's probably just in her own headspace. Like, I'm pissed.
For sure.
So Jocelyn follows Luke towards the door, and they have this like really hushed conversation that we're in Clary's point of view, so we don't hear everything. But it's about this person named Bane, and Jocelyn's like, I've been trying to get a hold of him for weeks, and he's in Tanzania. But I have said Tanzania 7 times. And so she's like asking Luke, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And he replies back and he says, you can't keep going to him forever. And Clary's not Jonathan. Clary isn't Jonathan. And Luke just, you need to talk to her. And he leaves.
Right.
He's out.
Right.
He's outie 5,000.
Yes.
So he's obviously mad.
And Claire's like, what the hell is happening? Like, what? Like,
Right.
it makes you question, okay, what about her father is she so scared
Yes.
that Clary's, like, taking from him or something?
Right. What part of you
What
are
part
you?
of him is she not?
Right.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I wanted to bring up before we get kind of onto the second part of the chapter is this first part, we saw it in Pandemonium, where she's comparing herself to Isabel, which is, I think, is a normal sort of teen thing to
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
But this whole first chapter, she's just comparing herself. Like, she is everything her mother is. Her mother's beautiful. Her mother's
Right.
tall. Her mother's such a good artist. And she's just, in her mind, she's just worthless.
Right.
Which is sad.
It is. Absolutely. I think all teens go through that at some point. You know, they feel like they're just not good enough.
I remember feeling that sort of anxious feeling, but not like to my mom.
Okay.
I think the reason that it's to her mom is because there's so many similarities between her and her mom. They have the same color hair. They have the same face shape. They do the same thing. They're both into art. And because of those things, she sees her mom as kind of just like this elevated version of herself, like kind of like what she's supposed to be. And she's not there yet because she's
Exactly.
a teenager.
Well, she's going to grow into it. It's her mom. I mean, come on.
Right.
I'm in my 30s now. I look so much like my mom.
Right.
I act like my mom.
When it's weird in this space, though, it's like she's obviously just pissed at her,
Yeah.
Right.
but she still can't stop.
Yeah. Well, and also, okay, from having a hot mom,
Okay.
okay, from that experience, when your friends think your mom's hot,
Sure.
like there's this weird, like almost competition thing.
Stacey's mom.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Right.
I love that song.
Because my mom was a hot mom. Like
Right.
when I
Yes,
wanted to get
yes.
when I wanted to get my belly button pierced, she went and got her belly button pierced, and then like wore crop tops all the time. And I'm
That's
like,
great.
Mom,
Right. Okay, did you do it together or did she do it instead
no,
of
she
you?
did it before me. She's rude.
And then Kristen did it, and it ripped out.
it
Oh,
did.
yeah.
But then I like pierced everything else.
Right.
Everything.
I thought we were supposed to keep this YA.
Right.
Whoopsies.
So, in the midst of all this awkward weirdness, Simon shows up,
Right.
of course, and
Lighten the mood a little
lighten
bit.
the mood a little
He's
bit.
got incredible timing.
Right.
And Clary is still, again, I'll keep saying it, she's still mad. So they leave. They're out. And they head downstairs and they stop in front of Clary's neighbors, which is Madame Dorothea, seer and prophetess.
Seeress and prophetess.
Seer. Oh, that was good.
CRS. Okay.
That was very good. So Clary sees someone exit her door. And when she looks at him, she noticed that he has razor sharp white teeth. And Clary is trying to think if she can't remember if she actually saw what she thought she saw.
It's like deja vu. Like when you have a moment
Absolutely.
where you like do a double take and you're like, I didn't just see what I thought I
What the
just
heck
saw.
was that?
Right. And when
Yes.
she's trying to recall the feeling, she gets nauseous. And she says, Classy describes it as it feels
Classy?
like classy. Yep.
Sorry.
Keep it classy. So Cassie describes it as this feeling that slips away like water, which is just,
Ugh, I
Kind of
love
like
the way she
goosebumps.
describes stuff.
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
Especially like things in your mind, like because you can, it's like visceral. You can feel what that feels like.
Right.
You know
Uh-huh.
exactly what she's
Absolutely.
talking about.
yeah. I just imagine like trying to grab it.
Right. Like try to catch tadpoles and like
Yeah.
and they just slip through your fingers.
I was good at catching tadpoles.
Well, whatever. Not all of us can be as cool as you. Okay, Amanda?
I had a little brother.
We love each other, by the way, in case you're not picking up on that.
Yeah.
The slight jabs are love.
Right. We just, call. I calls it as I sees it.
Why?
Cut that out.
Okay, Uncle Joey.
Okay. So Simon and Clary go for dinner.
It's hot in here.
It
not.
is.
Feels good.
I know.
Oh,
It's very hot in here.
I'm never hot.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Feels
weird.
great. So Simon and Clary go for dinner, and she points out to Simon that she doesn't think anyone really knows her mother, and that she never talks about her past. She doesn't know anything about her grandparents, and Jocelyn always just tells her that her life began when she had her.
Ugh.
That is like, we're all rolling our eyes, by the way.
I know, but
That's such a freaking cop-out.
don't we all kind of feel that way? I don't
No.
know. I don't know.
No, I had a whole life before my daughter
That's
came
true.
along.
That's true. I mean, when my son's not even 1 yet.
Right.
So, yeah, that's
You're like,
true.
I
but
just started.
Oh, but I just,
We've
it's a
only
whole
just
new
begun.
life. It's a whole
It
new
is.
life.
It's a whole new boring life.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, I wonder, reading it the first time, it's almost like you're so excited. I'm just reading to get to the next page.
Uh-huh.
Right.
I want to know
Uh-huh.
what happens. I want to know what
Yes.
happens.
You
But-
didn't analyze it.
Right. And now going back, and I'm like, so Jocelyn says that they have to leave basically because she's stressed out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, this is all about her.
Yes.
She's stressed, so now they have to go out of town, and she doesn't care about Clary.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of
she's
course.
so selfish, she won't even share her past with her.
Yeah.
Right.
Or any of her information. That,
Even about her father.
even about, these are, and it's not
Yes.
her father, it's Clary's grandparents also. Like,
Yes,
it's not just
right.
about
Yes,
you.
that's
Right.
true.
And she's just, Clary's had enough.
Which I totally understand. And like, of course, like Robin and I read these books before we had kids.
Right.
And then now we're reading them after kids. So I'm definitely seeing more things from Jocelyn's point of view than I ever did before. But like in this sense, when I remember when I first read it, I was so in Clary's corner and I was so pissed off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, who doesn't tell their kid about their dead parent?
Right.
Like, or their family? Like,
Uh-huh.
that's such a weird... Like, I had never met anyone. She would be better off telling her she was adopted.
Right.
Then-
Right. Why even bother telling
Yes.
her?
Right.
Well, it seems odd to not want to tell her even a single thing,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that she wouldn't have asked.
Right. Well, and I'm such a curious kid. Like, I would have never dropped it. I would have been like,
Uh-huh.
what do you mean you don't want to tell me? Like,
Yes.
you're going to tell me.
Well, and who knows if she has been, and we're just not getting that feedback
True.
from her.
Uh-huh. That's
True.
true. Right.
But-
That's fair.
And she just refuses to
She
tell
just
her
won't
anything.
bend.
Right.
But it seems like, obviously, it's something that's eating Luke away also. Because he's
Yeah.
tell her,
Uh-huh.
tell her.
Yeah.
There's something... Yeah, and that would definitely, like, raise a red flag. Because
Uh-huh.
Luke seems to be, like, a pretty, like, straight shooter.
Right.
Right.
And so if he's like on her mom to tell her something or to talk to her about something and she knows it's about her dad because she heard
Yeah, she's
or
not
her
Jonathan.
say she's heard him say Jonathan, like I'd be like, dude, like he's the one that's telling the truth. Like something's going on with
Yes,
mom.
yes.
And that would definitely put me against my mom like that. So I can get where she's like
Right.
just kind of spinning in her head.
And
about
she's
it.
like, I think she's just kind of going, well, and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then
Yeah.
Simon being the ever, like, optimist. Well, I guess it's not optimistic, but he says,
he
like...
plays devil's advocate like a good best
Sure,
friend does.
absolutely.
Right, exactly. She's keeping her level-headed. That,
Yeah.
like, maybe...
See it from this side.
Right, maybe your mother's parents were abusive, which is why her body's covered in scars.
Right, which
Sounds like she didn't even notice.
And Clary's
Yeah.
like, bro,
Right. What scars?
you can
right.
there's no scars
Like
on my mom.
we've all seen our mom naked. Okay,
Right.
like
Absolutely.
like,
Bikini.
you would know.
Right.
Yeah, and so she's no. Which just, and then it's weird because they just drop it.
Yes.
Right.
That's weird that conversation just drops.
I agree.
but I guess we can't spend,
I am
7,000.
forever the person that'll sit and talk about gossip, though. So I'd be like, so
Yeah.
what do you think my mom did?
Right.
Let's
Right.
call her.
Really, show me on a picture.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Because that's where, well, because like she's seeing things that no one else can see, and now Simon's saying that he's seeing something that she can't see.
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Like how like, I would totally think I was going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, this is it, man.
So I'm seeing things and I'm not seeing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to St. Mungo's. Sorry, wrong fandom.
So, in the midst of this conversation, Jocelyn calls Clary because I'm sure she feels like a dirtbag.
Of course.
Because I would every time I have to yell at my kids, I feel like a garbage dump afterwards.
And you're like, just forgive me. Like,
Right. I know,
didn't
and my
mean
kids
to.
can't leave.
Right.
They're 3 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going anywhere.
No.
Right.
Clary has free range.
Yes.
Right.
So she gets to choose to ignore the phone call and the voicemail.
Oh, that just is heartbreaking.
So
As a
I've
mom.
been in this place, gotten into a fight with my mom, took off.
Yep.
And she called me and I just ignored it. And so, like, reading this scene was like, oh, it hit me there. And then I thought about my daughter doing the same thing. And I was like, I've got to go cry for a little bit.
Exactly.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Ugh. So they're still, I guess, Clary's still angry. And so they're like, okay, let's just get on with our night. We're going to go to Java Jones. And they just start talking about normal stuff again, which is, again,
Like, how do you drop something
how do you
so
drop
intense?
something? But I guess,
Absolutely.
But that's what happens when you have a boy best friend. Because
guess.
girls will, like, sit there and
yes.
pick apart one situation, like,
hence this podcast.
right.
right.
27,000 different ways. But a guy's like, okay, so let's talk about something else.
All right.
Right,
You seem good.
You see that
Sport.
rack?
Yeah,
on that
want some
chick?
coffee?
Well, this is a better conversation because it's about choosing band names.
Right.
Between, they're working on Sea Vegetable Conspiracy or Rock Solid Panda.
Rock Solid Panda. Okay.
Okay, obviously, like, you're a fresh learner, but, like, or learner, a fresh reader.
I'm always learning.
But the band names become a thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
They're the best.
It's
That's
the
great.
best. So on the way to Java Jones, Clary notices that there's this child that's playing with the doll, and the doll, the wings on it seem to be fluttering.
She just dropped her phone. It's
did.
totally fine.
It did. And Simon discusses his woes to Clary of being single, and Clary's mother calls again, and she chooses to ignore it. And the chapter ends while they're still en route to Java Jones.
I love that Simon's, like, talking about being single.
He's just dropping hints.
Dude, it's so
Yeah.
obvious.
Again, moving on very quickly from some serious stuff that just went down.
Uh-huh.
He's a boy. That's
He's
all he's
a boy.
thinking about.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
He's like, how can I convince her?
Yes. Just keep dropping these little one-liners.
First and
basically.
10 to get out of the friend zone.
Ron did it.
There is hope.
Yeah, in that other movie.
So, question. From this point on, like, now that we've read the first 2 chapters, who do you want to learn more about? Like, what characters starting out, or were you like, okay, I want to know more about this one?
Uh-huh. So for me, I mean, it's a character we haven't even met yet. It's the dad, right? Clary's dad.
Okay.
I'm dying to know more about that.
Okay, yeah. I totally get that because it's so it's like shrouded in mystery for and you're
Yeah.
like, what's the reason?
Yes, of course.
Interesting.
There's a reason. Yes.
Who's this Jonathan dude? Obviously, I know too much.
Right.
Sure.
But if I can think back that many years ago, I feel like Simon is just like my spirit animal.
Yes.
So,
I've agreed with him on most things so far. I see
well, that and he has the, what am I trying to say?
What are you trying to say without giving too much away?
No.
Right.
He's the best character.
Well, he has the privilege of having a writer write his jokes for him,
Yes.
basically.
Right. Mhm.
So he's got lots of good one-liners
Yes,
and
he's
stuff. And
clever.
I want to feel like I'm that witty
Right.
in person.
You
Right.
are.
Try to be funny.
You're very funny.
Sometimes I think you're one that thinks of it later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but I feel like we're similar. He's awkward.
Uh-huh.
He's nerdy. He's always doing the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah.
With, like, talking about being single as Clary's whole world just comes crashing down on
Right.
him.
It's a great
And-
time.
making this joke about wanting to bang her mom when obviously it's not her mom.
Right.
And that's just me. It's just an awkward ball of weird.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I just want to know.
I agree.
I just want to know more about Simon.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, I was very intrigued by Luke when I first read this. I was like, who the heck is this dude? I really liked this dude. But Simon, I don't know. There's just something about Simon.
He reminds you of me.
He must be. I'm secretly in love with you.
Secret.
I've always known.
After all this time.
Amanda and I had to draw up a custody agreement.
Did you seriously just miss a Harry Potter quote?
I didn't hear you.
After all this time.
Always.
Nerds over here. Look what I have to deal with.
Have you read the Harry Potter books?
No, I've not even seen all the movies.
You're so dead to me.
Oh, yeah. I watch a lot of Dateline.
You guys haven't seen the last episode of My 600-Pound Life?
Yes, I have.
Okay, sorry.
I relate.
Way off tangent.
Sidetracked.
Oh, that's great.
But I love Simon.
Yes. So tell us who you'd like to learn more about and why.
All right. So make sure that you read chapters 3 and 4 for our next episode. It's another double chapter episode.
For behind the scenes content and the latest updates, check us out on Instagram at Downworlder Dish Podcast and join the discussion on our Facebook group, Downworlder Dish.
Bye.
Bye.